Okay, so this was completely all my fault because I waited too long to put the video out, and now they've already shown this episode, so my last video is completely obsolete.
Can you accept the Lord Jesus, my brother?
Breaking news power blackout affecting the south side.
I hope those were fireworks.
Darkness is always right around the corner.
That girl's still missing. I'm not worried. You'll find her.
So this is what happened. About a few days ago, I actually recorded a video where I was going to give my predictions on what I think was going on with Keisha and if they were going to find her alive. And I fell behind. I didn't get a chance to get it done in time, to get it out in time, because I wanted to get it out before this episode. Then I look up, it's Sunday, the episode is out. We already know the answer to that. But so I don't make it seem like I'm making this up, I'm actually going to include clips of that video where I admittedly say that I do believe she's alive. When they find Keisha, will she be dead or alive? Okay, this is tricky. Keisha won't be dead. However, if she does come back alive, they can't just have her come back like everything is fine. Something's got to be wrong after all of this time. And I hate to say that, but the truth of the matter is something's got to be wrong. Now, originally, what I was saying is that I think they're going to wait into the end of the season before they bring her back home. And that still could be true. But they did show us that she is alive. So we know that we're going to be seeing some kind of connection. Hopefully, the escape she tried to do isn't going to hurt her in any way. Like, have them try to have the guy who has her try to like attack her or kill her or do anything. I don't think that though. I get the impression that the person who has her is obsessed with her because you see all her track stuff. You see like the school stuff. He's somebody who's been watching her run track. He likes her. He admires her. He's fantasized about her, which is creepy, but he's clearly a pedophile who, has this obsession with this young woman and her skills because he has her dressed up in her uniform. He also has an obsession with the way that she dresses and behaves. He feels like she's not behaving the way he wants to see her behave because he's built up this like fantasy of her in his mind. So it gets a little creepy. He keeps calling himself daddy and he's watching her do everything. He's watching her pee. He's watching her sleep. It's a little unnerving. But she is alive. Of course, we know that. And it is going to be Ronnie who's going to find her. Now, in the video I was going to post, my thought was, you know, I thought they wanted to do Ronnie, but I felt like that was too obvious. So I was like, well, maybe they'll get somebody like Imani or somebody we're not expecting to go and find her. But now at first, I really thought it would be Ronnie because they kind of set that up the whole time. And I think Ronnie looking for Keisha is going to play into his character arc, and we're going to see a lot of growth from him for looking for her. And I honestly feel he's going to get really close. I don't know if they're going to give it to him though, because just recently they introduced Imani in the storyline, and her character being a trans woman and seeing what she saw in that house and wanting to protect those girls, I feel like that's going to come back around. I know that's going to come back around where they're going to address that storyline. And I wouldn't be surprised if she goes in and tries to free some girls or do something big like that and ends up accidentally finding Keisha. But now it's kind of written in the script where it's like his lot in life, like God has took him through all of this so he can be the one that finds her and bring her home. So we'll see how that goes. I feel like that's kind of a disappointment for me because it's not as big of a stretch as I would have liked, but they can play it right. And I do appreciate that even though she's going to be found alive, they're going to add some elements of like change in her. Because now that you see that there's this guy who is in love with her for her sport and everything, for running track, then that might make her fear running track and make it hard for her to go to school or to leave the home. So she's gonna have that PTSD in the background. I know this sounds bad, and I wouldn't wish this on anyone in the world, but from a TV standpoint, this character does need growth outside of this moment, and she can't just be found and everything will be okay. What I mentioned in my last video is the fact that in reality, there is a really good chance that if she had been kidnapped and gone for this long, she would be dead. You know, she wouldn't be alive anymore. And although I don't wish that on her or anyone in real life or in TV life, that is the honest to God truth of the reality we live in. So I knew they weren't going to kill her off because of the way they've been trying to develop her character. It's been more of a love and remember and want to see her come home kind of thing. But they did have to introduce some type of trauma so that this whole time she was missing doesn't seem like something they just pulled out of thin air and then we're just going to forget about later. So those are my predictions on Keisha. I do believe she will be found. I don't think she'll be back home until like the end of the season. But I do believe she will be found. She will be back home. Ronnie is going to be the one to do it. Now, the interesting thing is who kidnapped her. There's going to be a connection that we probably overlooked all this time with the person who actually kidnapped her. But she will be found. She will be home. Ronnie will be the one to do it. And that's all that I can think of for the Keisha story. Those are my predictions. Now let's get into the Jake and Duda story, because this season we see that Duda has taken, you know, Jake in and he's raising him like he's his son. And at first I was a little leery because I felt like maybe he was just doing this for political gain or he just found use within this boy, but I honestly think he sees himself in him and he thinks he's giving him a better life. He wants to be able to give this young man a better life. And then when I look back on the other seasons, you can actually kind of see him take a liking to Jake, like really want to see Jake do good. And so in this episode, you see him trying to be like a father figure. You know, he wants to care about him. And then when his wife mentions, hey, let's just use this kid for more collateral, he's like, no, that's not what he's here for. So I appreciate that. The only thing is, you know, Duda is a bad guy. He's not a good guy. So I think they do a good job at making you understand his character and feel a little empathy for him, because at the end of the day, this is a kid who grew up in Chicago, who was told he didn't have a lot of options, was put down. You know, he mentioned this in his last episode where he's talking about what he wanted to be when he grew up, and his teacher essentially laughed at him and was like, you come from Inglewood, Chicago, you're not going to be this or do this. And him just wanting to prove everybody wrong. So unfortunately, he had to go through negative ways to get to a certain point, but I do feel like once he gets there, he wants to do better. However, he still has this hood indentation about him that doesn't just go away. And I think he scared Jake today. I don't think Jake has actually seen him react to anyone the way he did when he was beating up this other guy, because, you know, yeah, you know this man is a drug dealer because you know that because of, you know, your brother told you that. And it's not like Jake hasn't been around some hood stuff because his brother was in the hood stuff. But to see somebody you look up to act in that manner and not know where you fit in, because you don't know, you know, Jake doesn't know if Duda really cares about him, if he just sees him as collateral. He doesn't know all of this stuff about him. He doesn't know anything about him. So to see him react like that is kind of telling, you know, of Jake's character, because he's like, he honestly just wants a home full of people who love him. He wanted that with Reg. He wanted that with his mom. And then when he got into Duda's house, he wanted that with him. You know, he sees this successful man who took an interest in him, who cared about him, and he wanted a family. He wanted a father. And to see him react like that, it really threw him off. So that's why he ran to the only family that makes sense to him, somebody he thinks he knows will protect him. So I'm interested to see where that story is going to go from here, because I definitely believe that Jake just wants a family. He just wants to be loved. And there's nobody in his life right now that's giving that to him. Hopefully Trig is really ready to give that to him and is not just coming to get him just because, you know, he sounds legit, and I really, really hope that he is. I believe Imani is legit and really cares for them both. But I don't think we've heard enough, the last of her story of her killing her father. I don't think that that's going to go away, and it's going to play a really big part in them getting him. They might just have to snatch him and run, and we'll see how that goes. Honestly, I'd be real surprised if her character lives into the next season. For some reason, I just don't see that happening. I don't hope that, but I feel like they're going to make you care about her character and care about Trig, who cares about her character. And I think she's going to end up dead, and I think it's going to be in connection to what Trig had to do for Kevin to try to find his sister. So, what is it, the 63rd Street Mob? The 63rd Street Mob, I think they're going to have a hand in killing her, trying to kill Trig, you know, and she's going to get in the way, and we're going to lose her in this season. I could be wrong, but I just have a feeling that's where we're going with that. So now we have Jada and Tomas. And Jada is a complicated character because she's been a single mom for so long. She has really bad taste in men. She clearly suffers from low self-esteem to an extent. And so she does what most people do when they have all these issues in their background and they don't know how to express them or to push them to the side to let themselves be happy. Jada doesn't really know how to be happy. She's afraid of opening up and getting hurt. So the issues that Tomas probably seems like he has is enough where she was ready to walk away. She was just like, I deserve better than someone who's going to compare me to his dead wife and blah, blah, blah. And she's going to have that in the back of her head. And I really don't want that for Jada. I want her to find happiness and to find love. But she's really going to have to dig deep and let this man love her and show her that he cares. He hasn't shown any reason for her to be afraid or not think best of him. But you know, when you've been hurt so many times and you've made so many bad choices, it's so easy to just fall into that thought process of, I can't really trust anybody. He's not going to be any different from anybody else I've ever dealt with. So I hope that's not the case. Families can be hard because they always, you know, they have in their minds who they think you should end up with. And if you don't end up with that person, then they can make the person you do end up with feel insignificant or inadequate. And hopefully she doesn't let that deter her from trying to see where this relationship goes. But I have a feeling she's going to ruin herself to some degree. And I just hope not. She's clearly someone who needs therapy. She would definitely benefit from therapy to work out her issues with her own self-esteem. But I just hope that we see a happy ending for Jada, because for the last couple of seasons, we've seen her just be Emmett's doormat, and then she was her baby daddy's doormat. She was stuck with Ronnie when he was in his craziness, which they haven't even really addressed that yet. Like, they haven't actually broken them up or anything, but whatever. So now I'm just hoping that she can actually just let herself be vulnerable, be loving to someone who cares about her, and just open herself up to happiness, okay? You know, I really want to see Jada win. Emmett. We gotta talk about Emmett. Emmett has to grow up. I said this to my friend a couple of times, and I'm like, I get that Emmett wants to make his mother proud, and his baby mama's proud, his kids proud. He wants to show that he's not a screw up and that he can get some stuff done. He can do something. So I totally understand where Emmett is coming from. But Emmett is so fixated on wanting to have something successful that he doesn't think things through. All he had to do was talk to Sonny about it. He doesn't know that Sonny would say no. And if Sonny said no, Sonny had every right to say no. But instead of being a man and confronting him and telling him exactly what he wanted and just going for it and sharing this business plan with Sonny, he goes behind his back. And he keeps going behind his back. And he keeps lying. And he knows Sonny knows he's lying. I'm like, why would you keep lying if you know this man knows that you're doing something behind his back? He's pretty much calling you out on it. But Emmett's not that person. Emmett is a person who will lie, cheat, and manipulate to get what he wants because he doesn't know how to be an adult about what he wants. It's all about him at the end of the day. And he doesn't care enough about Sunny or about the girl who's helping him cook. I can't remember her name. I think it's Dominique. I think Lala's character's name is Dominique. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I think her name is. He doesn't care enough about her issue with having to make all this food all the time by herself. Like, he's only focused on what'll make him look good at the end of the day. And because he has a selfish inward focus, he hurts a lot of the people around him. He uses a lot of people, and he doesn't appreciate what people give him. Like, Sunny gives him a lot. He keeps looking out for him, and he doesn't appreciate that. He didn't appreciate that with his mom. He uses her. It's so disheartening. And the one person, even though I don't like his father, oh Lord, child, I don't like his father. The one person who actually was like, no, you're gonna have to pay for food, you're gonna have to do this and do that, was his dad. And he hurried up and got out of that situation because he didn't like having to be responsible and to step up. Like, I don't understand why him and Tiffany lost their place. If she's working and he's working, why is it that they couldn't afford to keep their place up? They should have been living outside of their mother's house or his mother's house at this point. And for whatever reason, they could not maintain. And a lot of that has to do with him not knowing exactly what he wants. He doesn't consider other people when he's trying to get things done. So you're going to continue to see Emmett fall down. But I think the words that Sunny said really hit him, because it's like, be a man. Stop sneaking around. Stop doing whatever you want to do and not concerning yourself with other people. Hell, Sunny was the one who told him what to do to get his girl back, to get, Tiffany happy. And he still just doesn't consider Sunny's feelings or care enough about this person who literally loves him and keeps giving him chance after chance after chance. Something has to change in Emmett. He can't keep expecting people to help him out and open a door for him. He has to learn how to stand on his own 2 feet, and he has to learn how to show respect to the people who have his back while he's doing it. And until we get that Emmett, we're going to keep seeing him getting knocked off in his ass every single chance he gets. He'll be 21. It's time for him to be a man. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. You got 3 kids. You been needed to be a man. That's all I'm saying. Been needed to be a man. But that's it for my recap review or whatnot of this episode. I'm really disappointed I didn't get that other video out in time before we found out what happened to Keisha, but it's fine. That's why I need to hurry up and just get these videos done and get them out as soon as possible. And I can't drag my feet. Closed mouths don't get fed. So I got to start opening up and getting it done. So, but I really, really think we are going to see Keisha back. We're going to see some growth in Emmett finally. We're going to hopefully see Jada get a win by the end of this season, and as well as Ronnie. We really want to see, I know I do, I really want to see Ronnie get a win, because even with all the stuff with Cookie and everything, you can't help but know that he has a good heart, and hurting that boy was not his intention at all. But it's something that happened, and it's something that's going to be on him pretty much for the rest of his life until he redeems himself. So I'm hoping he gets the opportunity to redeem himself. I do want to talk about some of the acting in this episode, because I've seen these characters before through many seasons, and I know these people who play them are good actors. But this episode, a lot of people let the ball drop, and I was a little disappointed in some of the scenes and dialogue Ronnie had, some of the dialogue that his grandmother had. Even Kevin, to an extent, was just a little off. Papa really threw me off a little bit, and I'm hoping that we get some better dialogue or some better reactions out of them. I really don't want to see this show go downhill. I was a little disappointed with some of the acting chops I saw, but we'll see what happens. This could have just been a bad episode based on everything that was going on in the episode, and some people let the ball drop, and maybe the next one we won't see that. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you still believe Ronnie is going to be the one that finds Keisha? Do you think we're going to see Emmett truly grow up? Do you think we're going to see him have sex with Lala's character? Either way, let me know what you think, and thank you again for joining me for another video on my channel, Black Media Review. Bye.